غافر الذنوب جميعها إلا الشرك به والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وعلى صحبه وعلى التابعين. We praise Allah, the Almighty, the Cherisher, the Creator, and the Magnanimous, Al-Azim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who has created man, male and female, Adam and Eve, of the same raw material of earth, dust and water, for the purpose of serving Him Almighty on earth, to populate earth, to develop earth, and to establish a code of ethics and dealing that is fair and just. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who has sent His messengers, Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, the father of all prophets, the pioneer who was given the pioneering da'wah of inviting people to think straight, that there is only one entity that's worthy of worship, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Creator. And his two children, Ismail wa Ishaq, Ishmael and Isaac, and all the subsequent prophets and messengers, including prophets Musa, Moses, wa Isa, Jesus, and the seal and the final prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhim jami'an wa sallam. عباد الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. I announce before you that I believe in one deity, one God, Allah. And God is the best of all witnesses. And that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is the seal of all of his prophets. يقول الله تعالى سبحانه في كتابه الكريم about immigration. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ومن يهاجر في سبيل الله, and those who practice and get involved in immigration in the way of Allah. And immigration can mean many things. The physical immigration, where you change your country where you live. The spiritual immigration, where you change the spirituality you subscribe to. Or the system immigration, where you leave behind the system of paganism to the system of the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to become free and liberated. وَمَنْ يُهَاجِرْ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ will be rewarded. And look at what the reward is from the Holy Quran. يَجِدْ فِي الْأَرْضِ مُرَاغَمًا كَثِيرًا وَسَعًا. He or she will find in this whole wide big earth so many opportunities, not only opportunities, but vast and wide in their resources and returns. And those who do not believe this, ask anyone who has been here in this country for 40 or 50 years, like myself. They will tell you they came with very humble means. And today, alhamdulillah, they found their way. They charted their future. And they became independent. The sa'a, so many opportunities that are so wide. And then the second reward. وَمَنْ يَخْرُجْ مِنْ بَيْتِهِ مُهَاجِرًا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ, and those who leave their homeland, practicing hijrah to the way of Allah and His Prophet, and then ثُمَّ يُدْرِكُهُ الْمَوْتِ, and then he or she dies, فَقَدْ وَقَعَ أَجْرُهُ عَلَى اللَّهِ. His or her reward will be the responsibility of Allah, that is, he or she will die as a martyr, as a shaheed. And I see this, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, because most of us in this prayer hall are immigrants. Now, some of us might have immigrated for economic reasons, and the business of Allah and His Prophet were in the background. Some of us left because they were discriminated against or their freedom was violated in their homeland. Whatever the reason is, it all depends on your need, your intention. But what counts is your need, your intention. If your intention was to leave your homeland, to raise a better future, a better generation, that will be the pillar and the foundation of what Islam is all about in America, and to bring Islam to America and to practice it, then inshallah you will be rewarded as promised in the Holy Quran. I say this, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, because we sometimes forget that we are here in this country not because we are smart, not because we planned it right, but because it was the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bring us all here to America, to bring La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah to America. And I say this because sometimes in our daily efforts, especially in California, which is busy, widely spread, and highly assimilated, we forget that most important purpose, and that is you are here to bring Islam, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, to America. Never forget it. You do it through your actions, through your deeds, through your interactions, and through raising a better future generation that will make that difference. I say this because I want to remind myself and you that on the Day of Judgment we'll be standing before Allah and witnessed by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and will be asked, Ya Abdi, my servant, you were moved to America for whatever reason by the plan of Allah. You were given all what you need, all resources, best health care, best education, and what have you used it for? Did you waste it, or did you invest it for a better future for the world, and of course in the ultimate final destination, the Day of Judgment? So my dear brother and sister Islam, I want to stress, we are here to stay. Those who want to scare us off by practicing hate and propaganda against Muslims will be disappointed to know that we are here to stay, and they will not scare us off, because this, us being here, has been the choice for us by a much higher authority, nothing less than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are here to raise a new generation of American Muslims with a vision of creating a better world, a vision of expanding the American dream and experience from being a Judeo-Christian America into becoming a Judeo-Christian Islamic America, inshallah. We're here to try to offer a helping hand to Muslim and non-Muslim nations in the world to lead a better life. Second, we should not apologize for the misguided behavior of a few who hijacked our religion. First of all, because we don't know who they are. And we should never apologize for those who we don't know. And we do not know who taught and trained them on hate, violence, destruction, and wasting of innocent lives. By the way, most of these lives are the lives of Muslims. And then, looking around us, when was the last time a rabbi apologized for the misbehavior of people who perpetrate hate, killing, and torture and destruction in the occupied lands? When was the last time we saw a Catholic priest apologizing for a Catholic who did whatever they did in heinous crimes? When was the last time we saw an evangelical priest doing that? We are not going to apologize anymore. Don't let them get you in that state of mind, because that's a very destructive state of mind, not only to you, but to our children and their children. Number 3, many people say, why are we treated this way? Why are the Muslims always having the lower hand, not the upper hand? Why, astaghfirullah, is God making it difficult for us? And I want to state to you, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for training us to gain more experience. I look at this as a training program, and I want to share with you a wonderful experience of a very dear friend of mine who went to the hospital a number of times. So every time we go and feel sorry for him, he would smile and say, why are you sorry for me? Allah has given me a forced vacation because He is preparing me for a bigger responsibility. So my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, don't think that Allah is punishing you. And whoever tells you this, he doesn't know how to read the situation. Allah is training us, thickening our skin, training us on patience and perseverance, on being sincere to work hard under the most difficult circumstances, training us to gain more experience in life as we, as peace-loving communities, have become a fair game for politicians and fanatics. I don't need to name the politicians, and I don't need to name the fanatics. We should look at all these assertions about Muslims as a gift from Allah to first test our patience, resolve, and deepen all of it, to call on our wisdom and polish it, and to wake up the many of us who have been asleep at the switch. And I want to happily report that many of the Muslims that said, I don't care, parents, moms and dads, young Muslim men and women, after 9/11, they had the first wake-up call. We've seen them speaking in universities, in schools, in churches, in synagogues, to bring Islam truly to America. So it was a wonderful blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Holy Quran has a wonderful revelation which I think has been misunderstood. And it's the only revelation which was repeated twice in the Quran, one after the other. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inna ma'al usri yusra. Inna ma'al usri yusra. Now, some people translate this as after difficulty, there is ease. But the words in the Quran says that there is indeed ease in difficulty. In other words, when you are afflicted with a difficulty, there is always a silver lining. And Muslims should be trained to look at the silver lining and deepen it and take advantage of it. And that's what happened in 9/11. But the question is how to deal with the new vicious wave of Islamophobia or hate for Islam and the Muslims. There are two ways of doing it. One way is to return what they do to us by doing the same to them through violent responses, bad language and violence. And you know, my dear brother and sister in Islam, it's easy to propagate hate, to pursue revengeful sentiments, and to create violence. It is easy to destroy, but it's very, very difficult, and it takes time to build. And history has recorded that it was because of the peaceful attitude of Muslims and their defensive posture that the masses started to watch them, observe their lifestyle, listen to the Islamic message, and eventually decide to join in and say, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. In fact, it is a known fact that Islam was propagated by two very simple mechanisms. Read the history and you'll find out that Islam was propagated by merchants, traders from Yemen, Hadramaut, and from what is today Bangladesh, at the time called India, who roamed the islands of Indonesia, and today Malaysia, and Burma, and Cambodia, and Thailand, showing people what it means to be fair in trading, and fair in treating, and respectful to all. Showing people that you can deal with people fairly, not by occupying them and sucking their resources like some did, but by intermarriage and by forming families to show that goodwill of building for the future. The second approach is to deeply believe and act according to what the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ teach us. First, there is only one God, Allah, God of all prophets. Living in dignity prompts us to respect others regardless of their religion, national origin, language, social status, gender, and power base. Second, all people are created from the same basic raw materials. Now, some people think that kings have blue blood. And I promise you, if you ask any doctor who treated kings, he will tell you that their blood is as red as your blood. We're all the same. We're all brothers and sisters. We cannot act superior. And that's one fault that we fall in. Sometimes, in our zealous pursuit of speaking about our faith, Islam, we look down at people. We tell them that we are superior, the Quran is superior. Of course it is. But instead of talking about it, we need to let them see what the Quran has done to us, what the Sunnah has done to transform us, to become unique, contributing, wonderful neighbors, workers, and human beings. You know, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, it is easy to fight physically, but it is very difficult to engage intellectually. Our challenge as Muslim is to make a friend out of an enemy through intellectual discussions. And that's something some of us, if not many, are not trained to do. Without shouting, without emotions, with patience and perseverance. We should not use our enemies' tools in our reaction to those who hate us or propagate hate against us. And I want to share with you some personal experiences. In 1978, we had a visitor from the Vatican here in California. And he met a few of us. And he was actually a representative of the Pope. And he said, we want to start an interfaith dialogue. And frankly, at the time, we had to think very deeply and discuss with many. And many said, we never discuss with these people. They are unbelievers. They should not be discussed with. You may be surprised because the mood has changed. We took the risk and we asked Allah to guide us, and we started what is today called the interfaith movement in America. And to put it into action, and I'm sharing this with you, especially the young men and women of tomorrow, who are now ready to take over that responsibility. We said we want to put teeth into it, not just have photo ops, or the imam met with the priest, and the priest with the rabbi, alhamdulillah, everything's good, and then nothing comes out of it. We said we want to translate this into action by having monthly meetings whereby each side would speak about their belief and faith and the elements of what they do. And it lasted for years. And we learned and enriched ourselves quite a bit. And we were able to show what it means to be a Muslim believer, La ilaha illallah. And this is continuing on until today. The second experience I had in my life, and I've been here 50 years, and I'm almost actually 73 years old. So I don't actually get to manage Islamic centers anymore. I am a humble thinker sharing with you, especially the young men and young women, a better future for Islam and the Muslims in America. After 9/11, a man by the name of Franklin Graham, he's the son of Billy Graham, came on NBC and he said some real bad things about Islam, about Allah, and about the Prophet ﷺ. I can't repeat them. By mere coincidence, I live in Pasadena, and there is a very active missionary seminary in Pasadena, specializes in converting Muslims. Wallahi, true. I don't know if you know about it or not. And that's something which pains me, that we lived in America for 50 years, and we have not attempted to know how America works, how churches operate, how missionary activities are managed and organized, how the competition is doing its business. I tell our brothers and sisters in the American colloquial language that there is Pepsi Cola and Coca-Cola. If Coca-Cola finds that Pepsi Cola sales are higher, what do? They don't sit still. They go and study what made them sell more. And that is something we need to start, to organize, to know how they do their business and what we need to do. Because we have the truth, we know that. But we're not doing anyway. So I went to the seminary called Fuller Seminary, and I attended a big lecture, 500 men and women, telling them about Islam. Wallahi, they were having videos on the Islamic schools in Egypt, which are now shut down, alhamdulillah, about Muslim women in France from Moroccan origin, and how that lady is using strategies to make them convert to Christianity. So I sat down, and at the end of the lecture, I raised my hand in peace. And I said, Professor, I want to ask you a question. Is it proper for a religious leader of the status of Mr. Franklin Graham to say so and so and so? He said, I cannot believe he said that. I said, no, he said it, and I have the reference. I called my secretary in the office, which was probably 10 minutes away. She brought in the text, and I read it to him. And everybody in the room apologized. And that is what a Muslim does. Try to bring out the goodness in the average human being created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We do not do that. We need to do that. We need to seek that. وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. So it's the soul. It's got the fujr, the transgression, and the taqwa, the heeding of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The third experience I had with Sheikh Ahmed Didat, rahimahullah, when he came to America twice. So I used to run around with him and do things. And he would tell me, Yahia, the problem with us is we don't know how to communicate. So I said, how do we communicate, Sheikh Ahmed? He said, we stand up and give people lectures and we tell them that we're superior. Wow. I said, what should we do? He said, very simply, you got to feed the spirit and the stomach. So I said, how do you do that? He said, before you do anything, bring people to your home, talk to them about their family and your family, have some samosa and some chai. Then you open up their minds, you open up their hearts to listen to you, at least to listen to you. You know, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, we need to have patience and long-term vision. Now, we come to the masjid for Jumu'ah prayers, which is fantastic. Alhamdulillah. But the question is, what is your long-term vision after 50 years? For not only Muslims in America, for America as our country. What's your vision? I'm sorry to say, we have not engaged in think tank sessions to think and plan for that vision. It takes time to grow a tree, to conceive, bear, deliver, and raise a child. It takes time to excel in what we know and what we do. So my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, do not rush and make sure that you share with the future generations what your vision is. We owe it to the young men and women to share with them a vision. A vision is of a masjid where people come in and they prefer to sit in the far back. Why? Because I want to rush out of the masjid. The fact of the matter is it takes 7 minutes. You can time it, 7 to 10 minutes to evacuate the masjid. Or sit down and do your namaz, or come exactly at the beginning of the namaz or the prayers. We're having jama'ah prayers so we can get to know each other. That's the purpose of the jama'ah. You need to know the brother or the sister that sat down by mere coincidence, which I think the plan of Allah. Get to know who he is, who she is. Who is the brother or the sister who are sitting next to you, behind you, in front of you. And the first question you ask, what business you are in? So you can do business with him or her. Not far away here in Saddleback, a very famous preacher. He runs a 25,000 people congregation. Now we get to be very unhappy and uncomfortable because we have almost 800 or 700. And the cars are crowded. 25,000 people week in, week out. Networking, doing business with each other, propagating throughout the country. What is your vision? What is your vision before we die? What are you going to leave with your kids and grandkids before you die? So when you do a good deeds, you will be rewarded when you are in the custody of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I want to share with you some assets that I want to conclude with. The first asset is something we don't think about. And sometimes in California, we compromise. I call it the lifestyle of a Muslim. Now, the lifestyle of a Muslim has to do with the way a Muslim lives. The way he or she spends money. They are not extravagant. إِنَّ الْمُبَذِّرِينَ كَانُوا إِخْوَانَ الشَّيَاطِينَ. Those who are extravagant and spend with no limit, they are the company of shaitan. So we want to share with people how we live, a humble life. Instead of buying a $120,000 car, what's wrong with a $20,000, $30,000 car, $15,000 car? It will make you look good? Wallahi, no. First impression, maybe, but afterwards, no. If you want to impress your new fiancé, I'm talking to the young generation, think again. Because serious people are impressed not by the looks, not by the watch you wear, not by the expensive suit you wear. People who are worthy your life and your time are the ones who look at you inside. How you think, what your beliefs are, what your behavior is, what your lifestyle is. That is Muslim lifestyle. the way they dress, the way they raise their kids, the way the husband treats his wife, the way the wife treats her husband with respect. You know, in the culture of Turkey and Iran, they call the lady a khanum or a hanum. The Egyptians call it hanum. The khanum means madam. And she calls her husband Sayyid, Agha, sir. Respect. We want to show America what that is. How? By talking about it and giving lectures and movies? No, wallahi. It has to be done on a retail basis by getting your neighbor to come home and witness what that is all about. Second, our dress code, especially for the sisters. Now, if you notice along hundreds of years, the first thing colonizers do is not to attack the country, is not to denounce men. It is to change the mind of the woman. And the minute you get that key opened, I promise you, you will change everything else. Because she, the mother, the sister, the daughter, is the one who makes the future. It's not the man. And I watch Facebook, and there is a new dimension on Facebook where they show wonderful, beautiful young women dressed up in a hijab and the Islamic dress and say to ladies, how do you like that? And by nature, studies show that the average American woman doesn't like to be uncovered. It is social pressures that make her uncovered. We want to make it easy on her. How? We want the innovation and the ideas of the sisters. Number 3, there was a wonderful movement also on Facebook called the hijab movement, whereby people would stand up in a shopping center in Canada, young ladies, and say to people who are passing by, can you try the hijab? You will be amazed how many people responded to that. And they're so pretty, you're so pretty. So many students at schools and universities wore the hijab in sympathy to their sisters in the university. We want to deepen that dimension. And then we have a wonderful asset. We have Muslims who won in the Olympics. I hope this Islamic Center or the Shura Council or somebody would make a big thing out of it. Invite one every quarter and have a big public function donated for. And I promise you, you will touch people's hearts and minds when they come and talk about how they were raised and how they became these heroes and what they believe in. They didn't have to drink. They didn't have to expose their bodies. They didn't have to compromise. These are wonderful examples to build on. And then, of course, there are achievers in the medical profession, in business, and so on and so forth. The third asset, which we never use, and we don't actually have many nowadays. After every Jum'ah, I've lived here 50 years. And I remember before 9/11, after every Jum'ah, at least one family, wallahi, at least one family, every Jum'ah said, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. I doubt very much if you have too many anymore. And we need to get back in that business. You know, my dear brother and sister in Islam, the brother or the sister come here and say, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, inshallah. Everybody says takbir, Allahu Akbar. They come in and hug and shake hands. That is the end of it. Nobody knows where they go. Nobody cares for them. Despite the fact they can be your most important asset to make you understand how religion works in America. We don't do it. And that is something that we should embark on. We need to participate in public life. I wish that those of you who are active in city politics would not miss one function without making sure that an imam with the proper garb and a sister with the hijab in a beautiful, presentable way would be in the front lines of this function. And you don't know what will happen, inshallah. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم إنه نعم المولى ونعم النصير ادعوا الله يغفر لكم ذنوبكم ويكفر عنكم سيئاتكم فليرحمني. الحمد لله ثم الحمد لله. الحمد لله الرحمن الرحيم الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. الحمد لله غافر الذنوب جميعها إلا الشرك به. والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وعلى صحبه وعلى التابعين. I pray that will be amongst those who listen to what's being said and I follow to the best of it, and I will be, inshallah, the first to follow. اللهم إني داع فقولوا آمين. اللهم اجمع قلوبنا على محبتك وعلى نور هدايتك. اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. اللهم انصر إخواننا يا رب العالمين في سوريا وفي كل أنحاء العالم الإسلامي يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم أرحم الراحمين تقبلهم قبولا حسنا وخفف عنهم وعن عوائلهم يا رب العالمين. Almighty Allah, we ask you to accept our prayers, forgive us our misdeeds, and guide us on the righteous path. Almighty Allah, we ask you in humility to guide us on the righteous path, to bless our parents and grandparents and our families, to bless us all this afternoon, to bless those brothers and sisters who are taking care of this Islamic center and all Islamic centers and masajid all over the world, Ya Allah. Almighty Allah, we ask you to give speedy recovery to the ill and the sick, and accept those who died before us in paradise. Almighty Allah, we ask you to give every unmarried man a good wife to complete his life, and every unmarried woman a good husband to complete her life. Almighty Allah, we ask you that you will give us the best of all gifts we ask for, as revealed in the Holy Quran. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وَالَّذِينَ يَقُولُونَ رَبَّنَا هَبْ لَنَا مِنْ أَزْوَاجِنَا وَذُرِّيَّاتِنَا قُرَّةَ أَعْيُنٍ وَاجْعَلْنَا لِلْمُتَّقِينَ إِمَامًا. Those who say, Ya Allah, give us the best of all gifts we ask for, and that's spouses, husbands and wives and offsprings, children and grandchildren. That will be the comfort of our eyes to see, and the pleasure of our hearts to witness their achievements of building a fair and equitable and peaceful society, Ya Allah, according to your teachings in the Holy Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Almighty Allah, we ask you to protect us all from harm's way, to protect our children and grandchildren, to bless our parents and grandparents. Allah, we ask you to send your angels of peace and prosperity to overtake and defeat the devils of war and destruction, that will accept those brothers and sisters who are killed, who get to drown because they want to seek freedom, those who are driven away from their homes, to make it easy on them, and to make us amongst those who help them, Ya Allah. And I would like to say what every Imam concludes his khutbah with in the millions of masajid, regardless of their school of thought, regardless of their language, regardless of geographical location. The Imam would say, Ibad Allah, O the servants of Allah. And he would proceed to recite from the Holy Quran. Ibad Allah, Inna Allah ya'muru bil adli wal ihsan. Allah orders you to be just in everything you do, even against your enemies. Wal ihsan, and in excellence. Excellence in everything you do. So we know if it comes out of the hands of a Muslim, we know that it is the best product. We know it's the best verbal expression because it's from the tongue of a Muslim. Wal ihsan, excellence. Students, professionals, any kind of people that you meet who say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Wa ita'i dhil qurba, and always help your relatives, your kin, your neighbors, your brothers, your sisters, your mothers, your nephews. Now, most of us here come from the old country, and some come from states where people are depressed economically. They ask you for help, and sometimes we say, until when I'm going to help them? Well, I just want to remind you, $1 here does not buy you a Starbucks cup of coffee. Wallahi, it does not. Now it's almost $2. But $1 can feed a whole family a day in many countries around the world. If you cannot help financially, pick up the phone and call and say, Mom, I love you. I miss you, Mom. Dad, I love you. I miss you. If they are dead, make a dua for them. Call your nephews, your nieces, your relatives, your friends that you grew up with. During my time, 50 years ago, it used to cost $30 and wait for 3 months to make a phone call. For the young people. Now, free. Go on Google or Viber, or whatever system you are on. And a free phone call. All we're asking you are 3 minutes of your valuable time. 3 minutes of your valuable time. And when you do this, if you think that you are doing them a favor, they will be very happy to hear from you. Think that you are doing yourself a favor, because in psychology they teach, if you complete in your heart, you will be a complete person who is happy and satisfied. عباد الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى, and He Almighty forbids, عن الفحشاء, despicable activities, والمنكر, things that people tend to automatically, spontaneously deny because they are so embarrassed they have done it. يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون واذكروا الله يذكركم واستغفروه يغفر لكم وأقيموا الصلاة إن الصلاة تنهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر.